All right, so we're going to go and we're going to talk about people in comics for a minute. I think it's important because it kind of ties in a little bit to the types of people we've been seeing over on the Kick Vic side. We're going to deal with the whole Vic Mignogna thing. So I think it's worth kind of discussing this. Plus, the guy being attacked is a friend of mine, good friend of the channel, and I kind of want to just do my part and bring some awareness to this. So, also, real quick, make sure you're still subscribed and you still got that notification bell hit if you're a regular here, or if you're new, go ahead and hit those anyway. I've been getting a lot of comments lately and DMs and emails about people being unsubbed. So just make sure you still subbed. Make sure you still check those things. All right. So what's going on here? Why is Patch Zurcher saying, I hoped the next Van Sciver announcement would be that he lost his drawing hand in a bizarre zoo accident? Very classy. I would like to point out that Patch Zurcher works for DC Comics and Marvel Comics. And they do nothing about this stuff. They say nothing about stuff like this. Stuff like this. Comics are for everyone. Except Comicsgate. They can die from dick cancer. Very appropriate stuff. Make no mistake, even if Trump loses, we will remember who supported him. Now, this is the invincible Alana Smith. This is an editor. Actually, an associate editor now at Marvel Comics. And so this is a long story. If you don't know what Comicsgate is, it's a big movement of people that used to be comic pros and used to be comic consumers. And basically they want their, they want their comics back. They want this kind of garbage out. Make no mistake, even if Trump loses, we will remember who supported him. This is back in 2016. Little has changed. These people pretty much treat customers like they're piles of trash and disposable, all done within a dying comic book community. Like, pretty much comics are kind of dying. There's a lot of variables that can be placed on this. People like Alana Smith here who dump on customers. Basically, there's like a little cabal of people that run the comic industry, and if they find out that you are conservative or a wrong thinker, they're going to get you out of comics. They're going to get you booted. They're going to start gossip and rumors on you, and you will no longer have a career in comic books. I've been talking about this stuff for a long time over on my comic channel, and a little bit over here on this channel once in a while. I know I have a lot of people that have subscribed that probably maybe don't know anything about that stuff, so I wanted to give a quick kind of rundown on what all that stuff is. So I wanted to give the quickest TLDR I could on this so that I could talk about this. So, Ethan Van Sciver, that's Comic Artist Pro Secrets, friend of the channel, and he's got a comic book called Cyberfrog. Now, this is the biggest crowdfunded comic book there is right now. It's like almost at $1 million. The guy, if you don't know who he is one of the best comic artists in the industry. Probably within the past, I think, 20 years he's been drawing. He's very talented, very good. His comic is his first crowdfunded book since he's been booted, basically, out of comics by the Horde, who attack him relentlessly. I mean, I can go right here, type in Ethan Van Sciver, and it's literally attack after attack after attack. And I'm on my sock account so that because they block all of us, right? You're going to be blocked instantly. They're going to come after you. And, I'm sorry if that happens. If you follow me and you got hit with a blockchain, particularly by Sean Schemmel or any of these people, this is what they do. They've been doing it over there for a long time. So how it works is they go to an account that they don't like, and they put a block bot on it, and it blocks all of the followers on that account. Like, I have over 9,000 followers on Twitter. Every single one of you gets blocked by that person. And it doesn't just stop with that. It also works by going and using a hashtag or key select words. Vic Mignogna, for example. Boom. Anyone that's ever said Vic Mignogna gets blocked. I stand with Vic. Hashtag blocked. So there's multiple ways to go about it. That's just one of the key methods. So if you search Ethan Van Sciver or Dynamite Comics right now, there's a massive attack going on. Like I was showing you, scroll down, attack. You search Dynamite Comics, you get a lot of nasty stuff. This is Tim Doyle, a very prominent hater and stalker, it would seem, of the Ethan Van Sciver. The guy literally is talking about him all day long on his timeline, all day long. So this is a good example of what they're saying. So wait, Is at Dynamite Comics so hard up for cash that they let noted YouTube bigot Ethan Van Sciver pay for the rights to draw Vampirella comics? This is embarrassing for all parties. Ethan has to pay to do work, and Dynamite has no integrity. It seems gross. So, this is not that true. What's going on here is actually explained in this Bleeding Cool article. The only people covering this at all and what sparked the outrage. I don't know when this actually got announced. I don't know if Ethan announced it on a stream or if Dynamite made an announcement. But this is why. So Ethan has commissioned himself to draw crossover comics with Vampirella. I hope I'm saying that right. And Cyberfrog. It's a way to promote his book in a lot of ways and to get his book into comic shops. And the reason that's done is it's a way to get your name out there more and to get your work out there. So they're going to explain it right here. So back in the day, retailers used to commission Star Comics creators to draw a cover for an upcoming comic book, usually from DC or Marvel. That would be exclusive to their store. Each store would have to order thousands of copies to make it worthwhile for the publisher. Some enterprising artists realized they could commission themselves to draw exclusive covers of such comics, get the publishers to print them, and then sell them online or at shows signed or unsigned for a considerable markup. J. Scott Campbell, Rob Liefeld, and John Tyler Christopher are amongst these creators who have done so the most, and soon the habit has spread. So, at Dynamite Comics, which asked for fewer minimum copies to be printed than Marvel and DC, Dan Pansonia, however you say that, did such for Red Sonja #1, as did Paolo, his brother, I'm guessing. I don't really know who they are. So it seems Ethan Van Sciver is no longer working for major comic companies, blah, blah, blah. We already know that. Basically, it means he bought hundreds of copies of the same comic, he drew the cover. So for wholesale price, retailers that pay around maybe $1 or $2 each get them, and then they can mark them up, blah, blah, blah. That's how comics make money. So basically, he's working with Dynamite Comics. He's paying for it, and they're printing. Now, really not that big of a deal. This is a way to get his work out there and make a little bit of a profit. I was going to ask him about it. I'm sure he'll talk about this more as it gets closer. But what's going on with that isn't the concern. It's the concern that he's being attacked and basically told that he needs to lose his hand, like Zurcher says here. I hope the next Van Sciver announcement would be that he lost his drawing hand in a bizarre zoo accident. Patrick, Mr. Bipolar Zurcher, back and forth, either talking on good terms with Comicsgate people or saying stuff like this. These people basically want him to, have his life come to an abrupt ending, basically, because they don't agree with his politics. Just like you saw here with Alana Smith, when she's like, make no mistake, even if Trump loses, we will remember who supported him. The former Kohl's cashier, by the way, who Marvel hired for pennies on the dollar to become an editor. No experience whatsoever. You got the right politics, though, girl. Come on down. So, this leads to attacks. Now you can see here, Simple Fan at Dynamite Comics. I am asking you not to honor the order for retail exclusive placed by Ethan Van Sciver. You have the right to refuse service to a man who is the leader of the most disgusting movement in comics. So, I love that these people never have evidence for why. It's literally a wrong thing, right? And if you criticize anything, we've gone on this before. You're an ismphobe of every single category. You hate everything, everyone. Even if you are a person of color or, you're into the same group, doesn't matter. You're an ismphobe or an Uncle Tom or some kind of weird crap like that. These people have the weakest arguments in the world. But look at this guy comes in, and it's true. At Dynamite Comics, I promise you will gain more customers than you will lose. Fact is, people like this made me stop buying comics from big companies, and news of your upcoming Cyberfrog variant made me consider buying Dynamite Comics again. This is true. There's a big moneymaker to standing out against stupid people like Simple Fan here, who like to blast people and make up labels and ismphobes on others. If you stand up to the NPC, there is a large chance that you will make a very hefty profit. And unlike the Cookles over at Antarctic Press. It looks like Dynamite Comics isn't swaying. They have no responses for these jackasses. They just let them cry to the wind, which I love. But it doesn't stop people like Pat Zurcher here and others that work directly for Marvel and DC Comics, which they do nothing to stop, by the way. You work for that company, Marvel or DC, you can say whatever you want to anybody, even the people that buy your products. And it's free range. They do nothing to stop it, which is kind of why I just stopped caring, because they just literally are going to let these people make low quality products and dump all over fans and consumers. And it doesn't matter. Even comic stores aren't doing anything about it. So it's okay in Marvel's eyes for Patch Zurcher to come on here and say, my new policy is going to be call these Comicsgate flakes whatever I feel like calling them, including Ethan Meinkampfer. Hope you and your sea wife have an accident at the range, you Nazi prick. Blow your effing hands off and quit making S art. And here's a reason why, a lot of people in the CG movement always talk about, what about the comic shops, right? The comic shops. And there's some great comic shops out there. There really is. But the majority of them, they do their own foot shooting. Look at this right here. So we got the guy again. This is Tim Doyle, the guy who's actually runs a print company out in, I think, somewhere in Texas. I can't remember where. But he actually has considerable power in the comic industry and does not, he only has 10,000 followers and has massive comics power. Why this is, I don't know. All the guy does is plagiarize art and make print photos of it. And this guy is taking pictures with like Donny Cates and all kinds of stuff. And he literally sits online all day long and harasses Ethan Van Sciver and anybody that does work with him. It's really kind of sad and pathetic. And then you've got this guy come down here. This was the original tweet that I read earlier. Or it might be another one. He does so many. We got this guy here named Jeremy. Now this guy apparently runs this 8th Dimension Comics and Games. And he says, assuming this is true, at Dick Comics, or 8th Dimension Comics, will cease stocking Dynamite Comics on the shelves, effective immediately. See, whatever the customers want, that doesn't matter. Screw the customers. It's all about personal politics. That matters more than business and sales, basically, to these people. So when you literally put garbage on Twitter before your customers and profits, I don't feel bad for you. So, a lot of these comic shops have the power to say, hey, Marvel, why don't you stop letting your customers be why don't you stop letting your workers be jackasses to customers? Why don't you make your products better as well? We're going to stop buying them. They don't do that. They keep bringing them in. They even join the fight. There's that big old fiasco with Richard C. Meyer where they were basically coming out and saying, we're not going to stock this comic. And they're doing it with these covers as well, some of them. Like, how do you expect me to feel bad for your business when you literally don't put profits in your customers first? I don't feel bad for you. So that's pretty much it. I really wanted to cover this and give my friend some love and his book some love. Go check out Cyberfrog. I think the 3rd Indiegogo is still up. So if you want to get a copy of Cyberfrog, you can still do that. Send him a like or a heart or something on Twitter. Show some support, because literally the man's family is threatened every day. It's very disgusting to see things like that happen. He's a very good dude. He does a lot to help people, particularly a lot of people that want to start up and sell comics. He does a lot for people that he doesn't need to do. I think he's a good guy, and he does not deserve the type of disrespect and nastiness that he has to deal with by these people every single day. Speaking of salt, though, by people, Deadbeats, which has 40 people on it. Look at all of these people from the industry that are in this book. So many people from Marvel and DC. And what does this get? What did it end up finally hitting? It was like $33,000. $33,877 was the final tally for Deadbeats, a book on Kickstarter that has 40 people on it, like I said, and that's a failure to me. just like the comic industry itself and the people that work in it, like everyone on this list, it's a failure. Fail, fail, fail. Anyway, like and subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. Make sure you still got that notification bell hit. Check out the links in the description if you want to help the channel out. And as always, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.